Hey there, everybody. My name is Nate Fisher. If you are not familiar with me, I have been in SEO for the last 20 years, practicing it day after day. I have been building software in the space for the last decade. You might know me from localviking.com, Jensen.ai, rep.co, or maybe even Domain Reanimator from the early days. Today, I wanted to hop on and introduce not only myself, but the tool that Leo and I have been building together over the last couple of years here. My background in building software and having an agency led me to meeting Leo through Keyword Cupid a couple of years ago, and we decided that we would put our heads together and build something that we thought that the market really needed in the content optimization space. So briefly, or pretty quick here, I'm going to hand it over to Leo, but what's different about Pareto content and what are you about to see? One of the main things that we felt that the space needed was transparency in the data that is driving the entity optimization suggestions and really everything around the algorithms that some of the other tools in the marketplace hide from you. And there's a number of reasons that that is. But without further ado, why don't you hop in, Leo, and maybe you can share your screen and give us a brief tour of some of the functionality that we have baked into Pareto that you can now use.
Thank you, Nate. Yeah, this is a great introduction. And as Nate said, we wanted to bring the transparency involved, change a little bit more on the models that we're using, and introduce a different flavor of what we think our own page optimization process is. In particular, one of the things that we feel very strongly about is that on-page optimization is not something different than an alien to the rank tracking. So that, like, those two things go hand in hand, and that's what we're trying to build in the software. In a sense, this is an amalgam of a rank tracker and an on-page optimizer. And what we're doing here is that we're trying to track the entities across time. So we are periodically scraping again and again the SERPs for your keyword, and then we are reporting how your content is or is not optimized. The premise is that you optimize today, there's an algorithmic update tomorrow, the SERPs change, all of a sudden you're not optimized. That's what we're trying to solve. We want you to be an evergreen content that always stays up in the SERPs, and that therefore the name of Pareto efficiency and Pareto content. You can see some of the features that we have, like we have a plethora of different functionalities and different models that we want to discuss. But one of them, for example, is the SERP score. Most tools, what they have is that they are judging the individual content by itself. What we want to do is judge it across the specific SERP. So that's what we have created an embedding vector, a model like BERT, that we are training only on the URLs of a specific SERP, and then we are judging how this content how this content stacks against the other ones inside that specific corpus of the results. And you can see that the same URL is going to have a different score across different SERPs. This is also very different from the content editor, where what we're analyzing more is your style, your writing. If you're hitting all the context vectors, we do a lot of things on the back end to make sure that your linguistics align with what the SERPs would expect. We also want to be transparent. We are just rendering the page here, so you can see what we're scraping, and if we need to make any differences and any changes based on the results that we were able to pull, then you can actually change it here and then re-pull the data. You can also copy this for your own purposes, for training AI models and whatnot. And this, again, brings a little bit more of the transparency to play, because otherwise you don't know what we are calculating the entities on, which is a very important thing. We're using a plethora of APIs, more than any other tools we have checked. We are just using everything from Google NLP to IBM to OpenAI, everything that we could find to collect most of the entities that exist across the board. There's a lot of interesting charts, and I'm not going to go through all of them, but for example, this shows a very interesting picture across the whole spectrum of the SERPs. And in particular, it tells you that the fourth position is better to target than the fifth or the sixth or anyone else. Because as you see here, local brand manager is 44% here, but for position 4, Google is undecided on which results make sense to show. So this is a good opportunity to start targeting that position for that specific week that you're optimizing. Another thing that you can see is the trends here. So for example, local brand manager, as you can see, it trends down. It goes from 16 to 27 to 44% down. And Google's actually testing them in position 6, which is a bad sign. And in my experience, it's actually indicative of loss of rankings. And then on the other hand, GMB Briefcase, or actually TrackRights.com, is trending upwards. And this is a good thing because they're actually testing them for position 2. And that is usually a sign that you're going to gain rankings. This can be used as a tool to sell SEO as well. And if you see your client tracking down, you can tell them that they need to do optimizations, and it's a good way to get them into your funnel. There's a lot of other things that we discuss, a lot of different charts around the entities or what exactly is happening in order to resolve problems, especially around updates. This is what we want to target. But our tool has been created with a mindset of optimizing your SEO campaigns on your own page across the board and across the board of your websites, and without too much involvement from your ends. And we will get to more explanations and tutorials in the future.
Awesome, Leo. And we've been using it a lot, not only on our personal projects, but also at our agency. So expect a series of case studies coming out, expect a bunch of over-the-shoulder training, really everything you need to be able to understand the fancy AI ML charts that Leo has been kind enough to bless us with, and also just really understanding the underlying theory of how to use the tool to gain rankings for you and your clients. Super excited that we are starting this journey together, and expect a litany of videos and training coming from Leo and I for potentially the rest of your lives.
See you guys.